So, Beth, for this segment, I thought we'd catch up with one of the most prolific and hardworking fans in the DLP community. That is Stuart from DLP Tips for Irish. And he is, at the moment, as we speak, in a car in Ireland. So, I'm going to call this segment DLP Tips from Irish in Cars. Stuart, can you hear me?
I can hear you. My car is parked. I'm not driving, to confirm.
That is great. And just to confirm, you are still Irish.
I am still Irish. Very
So
much so.
the segment is titled properly.
Okay, all boxes are ticked. I think we can get started. This is good.
Approved.
Now, I'd like to just point out that Stuart is wearing his Christmas Mickey ears. Did you get that at DLP?
I did not. These are from a local Irish ear maker.
Ear maker.
Aww,
Much cheaper than
that.
€30.
It's wonderful. It looks really good, and it looks quite official as well. We shall not mention these Irish ear maker's name because.
Okay.
So you went to the AP party, the AP Christmas party, the soiree, and I saw your updates. You're very consistent with your updates, and I just wonder how you managed to actually do that for the whole night and the day leading up to it as well. It was really interesting to see. So we just wanted to have a quick rundown from you. Was it a magical night or was it tragical?
Oh, what time is it? That's a beep word in my country.
I will beep it out in the actual recording.
Great. Like overall, it was one of the better AP nights. I have a very love relationship with these nights. Mostly centered around the fact that all the communications are in French, really, and my French, although it can get from the airport to Disney, and I can look for the local library or order a yogurt, I am not prolific in the conversations of characters and health and safety statements in the parks. So yeah, like from compared to other ones, it was one of the better ones. I think the weather really helped. That's just a huge factor. I didn't visit the AP party in September because I was just so disheartened by the one. I think the last one was March before that, and the weather was just terrible. It was a complete washout. There was no point in being there. There was no joy at all. So I gave the September one a miss, and then November it was absolutely freezing cold. But we're used to that in Ireland, and we all put on our big boy boots and got on with the show. And I felt on the balance of everything, it was quite magical. Yes.
So the night before, it actually snowed heavily, and we've all seen the pictures and videos of that. Were you there that night before?
No, I was not. I love the dramatics more so than anything consistent or anything planned too hard in advance. So I arrived at like 6:30 p.m. on the night of the soiree. I used my soiree ticket to get into the parks, which is unusual for me. Yeah, so I wasn't there during the snow. The snow was all still there, but from what I gather from very truthful guests from the day before, that was magical for about 10 minutes. And then after 10 minutes, it was an extreme inconvenience. Everyone pretty much left the parks. There was no queues for anything. All the entertainment was cancelled. And as you would expect, there's no blame there. But it was magical in temporary form.
Now, I know that at last year's annual pass Christmas night party, they did hand out programs to people. Was there a program this year that you were given, and was that only available in French?
No, we didn't get a program. We got this really cool little. I brought it on the show for the video listeners.
Okay.
It's a little pouch and it's magnetic, so we're moving into some premium, additions here to the nights. But it didn't have anything in the pouch to help you with your night, because that would be obvious. We got little tick and tack or Chip and Dale Christmas jumper pieces of card. That's all it was really, and then a little Christmas jumper card with nothing else inside of it. So there was no map, no indication.
How odd.
Luckily, we have DLP Report, which is the quasi official PR department for Disneyland Paris.
Yes.
They shared a map of where you can likely find characters, and we did get some notifications from the official Disneyland Paris accounts, but they said that the party was finishing at 2 p.m. So who knows what we can trust them with or not.
So you actually had to look at DLP reports to get official information. It's not the first time that has happened. And so you arrived with the TGV. What was the first thing that you did?
I joined the very, very long queue to get into the soiree. It was in two lovely kind of uniform queues. And then, as happens in all Disney parks, but particularly DLP, chaos ensued when people decided to just walk up the middle of the queue and just do whatever they wanted. So I did get in eventually, and I saw a droneless sky parade, which was, it broke my heart really, because I visited during October, and for my whole trip in October there was no Halloween drones. And then for my trip in November there was no Christmas drones. So I did get illuminations for the 122nd time or something. So that was
Few
good.
more weeks.
Yeah, I did actually one tip for that links back into the topic further on in the show. But I went to Colonel Hattie's and I got the very mild curry to keep my belly warm. So that's a top tip for cold nights.
That is a top tip. That is.
Bring your own spices though. There's no spice, no heat in that curry.
Okay, so I just wanted to, before I hand it over to Beth again, characters, and I know that Beth will want to talk about this as well. I saw that you were actually talking about the French thing, trying to have a conversation with both Vampirina and the other girl,
Fancy Nancy.
Fancy Nancy, who you were having a wonderful chat with. They don't say anything back, but there's lots of gestures. So I was just like, for a Christmas night, what was your impression of having Vampirina and Fancy Nancy and a conversation, one-way conversation with them?
Well, I felt they were gesturing back in French, if that made sense. But no, they were great, and I have two daughters, and for me to meet Fancy Nancy and Vampirina is my daughter's dreams. So I was delighted to send them pictures of myself with their heroes. In general, just on the topic of characters, I thought the character layout and the format was fantastic. It's impossible to do meet and greets on these type of nights. There are 10 to 15,000 people going around the parks, and if you had the usual Disneyland Paris 5 minutes per character per guest, I mean, you could run it for the whole weekend and it would still be going. So it's just kind of selfie spots, you interact with the characters and have a little chat. They do kind of go along the front row of the crowds, and then everyone moves out and then you move into the front row. Like some of my highlights were probably Moana and Mirabelle from Encanto. They're quite rare characters. Well, today Moana is obviously coming out, but before that, Mirabelle and Moana were quite rare. We had a curious situation on the Molly Brown where we had a live band and Louis from The Princess and the Frog. That was quite interesting. That was a very long queue for a very strange meet. There was Jack Skellington at Phantom Manor, and he was just literally climbing the rail posts to talk to guests as opposed to any sort of physical interaction. Like we had in Meet Mickey, we had Vampirina and Fancy Nancy. That was quite good because it was warm. Again, another tip for later. And then we had the extremely exciting happening in what I call Disco Land, which is the old Discovery Land. And we had Max and Goofy on a full-on rave with entirely inappropriate dance songs being pumped out to the unsuspecting Disneyland Paris faithful. It was great.
Beth, I'm sure you have something to say about Cardi B at this point.
Did they play Low by Flo Rida? That's all I want to know. I think that would be really fabulous. But,
I think they might have played it later in the night. When I was there, They played I'm Sexy and I Know It. So it was quite a scene for Max to be twerking to that song. Violently.
Got to get with the times.
Yeah.
I guess so. I love it that the Disney Junior team was there. I'd been concerned about them, like their employment opportunities since they lost their jobs at the Dream
The Dream
Factory.
Factory is completely
I
gone.
know. I thought they'd be hanging around the Pôle Emploi here in France, but
They,
here they're gainfully employed, making people happy. The exchange on your media was really cute with them. I thought everybody understood each other.
I think they're looking for Mark's friend, AD Venture.
Oh yeah,
He might be
I'm
able to
sure
give
he
them a
was
job.
lurking around. Yeah, exactly.
they're trying to get a new employment in the other park that's coming up. That's probably what it is.
Yeah.
And on that point of the actual dance, the Discovery Land, I saw that. Could you see where the DJ was?
Yes, the DJ was placed very closely to the Star Wars plane on top of the X-wing, I think it's called.
It was
On
up
top
there.
of, yes, live
That must
DJ.
be called. Right. Okay. Good on him or her, or them. But as I saw your videos, some people in the foreground were bobbing along, but obviously you were not allowed to actually dance with the characters. So there was the characters by themselves dancing, basically by themselves. It was a little bit lonely on the dance floor. Would you say
Yeah,
that?
everybody else. That's the problem with interacting when everybody's trying to get content. Everybody was just holding their phone, and the other hand was in their pocket trying to keep warm and just bopping along with your phone. 2024 people.
Mhm. How
Yeah.
did you find the ambiance in general? I've been looking at some content, mostly like French vloggers, and okay, I know French people like to complain, and I can say that because I'm officially French. But he was saying, for example, he thought in Frontierland there wasn't Christmas music playing for at least the first part of the evening, and he thought, I don't know, he thought it was maybe lacking. Did you find the general ambiance to be good, Stuart?
Yeah, I think we all know that Disneyland Paris has a problem with Christmas and kind of theming the lands. So Frontierland, not much going on. We had the three Caballeros down in Adventureland. That was quite cool, but again, no Christmas ambiance. The Christmas ambiance
Okay.
was reserved really for Main Street and the Central Plaza, which had the old. I think it ran from 2012 to 2020. Was the Christmas is Here parade? That was quite good. That was a nice throwback for everyone who loves a bit of nostalgia. So the whole of Christmas, there was photopass photographers on Main Street for the first time in forever, really, who took your picture with the tree. I didn't get in time, obviously. I pulled up and they said no more pictures because they
Oh
didn't want to
no.
take a picture of me. But yeah, it was quite good. Like I've been actually my last Christmas event was on my honeymoon over 10 years ago, and that was in Walt Disney World. I don't know whether it was called,
Oh wow.
um, you know, whatever it's called these days in, in Walt Disney World. But I remember we obviously paid more than €59 into the parks, and we were handed cookies and hot chocolate and choice of eggnog and whatnot. There was a huge queue out of Market House Deli the entire night. There was no possibility to get a hot chocolate, even if you wanted to pay €3.80 for the hot
Mm.
chocolates. So that's something they could work on. Maybe a few more snacks, keep people warm. Hot chocolate,
A
eggnog.
few more outlets, because it sounds like that was the
Hmm.
only place pretty much that was open. I'm sure there were other places open, but for hot chocolates and stuff like that,
Yeah,
they
there's
could
one
have
outside the
carved.
Mercantile shop in Frontierland. I think it's a
Mm.
hot chocolate machine out in front of the shop,
Yeah.
but that's just not what you're thinking of. You want the hot chocolate on Main Street with the castle on one end and the tree on the other end, and your photographer and the Christmas parade going on. You don't want to be watching Jack Skellington climb the railings with your hot chocolate.
I'm wondering about the Chalet Gourmand. So those were not open,
Fantasyland.
I I think they
usually
were
backed by
closed. Yeah,
Fantasyland.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure they were closed. Yeah.
Oh my
Oh,
gosh. I mean, they could mint money if those were open. Can you imagine wandering around with a nice vin chaud, enjoying the annual pass
exactly.
night? I mean,
Exactly.
low hanging fruit here. Oh my
Yes.
gosh. So you were able to eat like a late dinner at Colonel Hattie's? And then
Yeah.
did you notice any other restaurants open besides
Um,
just the,
well, only the late night ones like Hyperion, and
okay.
I didn't really notice anywhere else. Like everywhere is either closed or walled up at this stage in Fantasyland. Definitely, Last
Ah,
Chance was not open. Maybe Lucky Nugget was open, but I don't think they were doing. They wouldn't have been doing the normal menu. So no, it wasn't like. Well, I wasn't looking for food venues really. I had my dinner. I had my feed.
yeah.
Excellent. So we already established that it was a cold night. You kind of hinted at that you were wearing certain layers of clothing. Now, we are actually all going to be meeting up on the 14th of December when we get together for the Christmas night of Inside Ears, the Christmas event of Inside Ears. So we would like to get your tips, not just for us, but anybody else who's going during this cold winter period. What is the best way to keep warm? What kind of thermal socks do we need to wear, etc.?
Well, this is what people pay the money for these days. Is these tips really? It's so right
And you have
before
so
this
many of
trip.
them.
Yeah, right
We
before
can
this
pay
trip,
you.
when I saw the forecast for the snow, etc., I actually went out and bought a pretty much a whole new wardrobe. So I had foot warmers, I had hand warmers. You know, these are these activated um, little like tea bags that you basically hold in your hands for the whole night. But the
Yeah.
foot warmers were a game changer. I got those. They're foot insoles, and they work the same way. You slip them into your shoe, and you're walking on heat for the whole night in a different sort of way, in a good way.
Are they kind of
Um,
gel soles so that the friction causes them to heat up?
No, they work the same as the hand little tea bags. Just when you open the pack, it
You crack it and then the heat
activates. Yeah,
starts.
that's
The
it.
chemical, it's a chemical reaction. Yeah.
And it lasts all night.
As long as I needed it for you, about 4 to 6
Excellent.
hours. It was pretty good.
Excellent.
Now, some of my friends in the park, I don't know if you saw during the studio show, were wearing this heated jacket, like almost like a gilet, where you charge the jacket and then you press a button and it heats your torso, which again is on my Santa list for sure. I'm looking
I
forward
was
to getting
looking
that.
at those on Amazon today, thinking of you and our big meetup, and you
Ah,
can get those for a reasonable price. So
but is it
you
only
don't
like
have to wait for
Amazon? Can you
Santa
find them
Mark.
at
You can just buy yourself one.
Primark or somewhere like
And
that?
I was looking at Amazon.
Yeah.
You can even get full-on whole jackets that have the heating elements that go out to your arm and everywhere. But I
Good.
was felt
Great tip.
like maybe a little overkill.
Maybe a
A nice
onesie, a
little.
full onesie, maybe a full heated onesie.
I just recently got a Grinch onesie, so maybe I'll just wear that.
Okay,
Um,
I have a penguin one I could wear.
there we go.
So all
Excellent.
right.
And you did you bring a thermos of like hot chocolate or something with you? Did you have a little flask of some
No, I
ice?
did not. This is cold water. Unfortunately, you can see here my
No, no,
branding
not
for all those
tonight.
video people. No, that's the one I bring to the parks too.
All right.
So yeah, so that was just cold, really cold water. I should have went ahead, but in fact, actually, all the water pumps are nearly turned off in the parks, which is disappointing. Apart from probably Videopolis is working, but Avengers Campus water pump is finished, it's closed for winter.
Because they
I
probably
did,
just bring out it's just ice cubes by now.
yes, yeah. Hero ice cubes. The other thing I did have was thermal socks. Thermal socks are incredible. They're not very glamorous. You're not going to get any hot dates wearing these, but they go up to your knees, and they were fantastic on the second night when I was waiting to watch the show um, in the studios. That yeah, they were fantastic. They're kind of compression socks, and my feet were warm for the whole night. It was fantastic.
Stuart,
Um,
you're saying that you're not going to get any dates on. I mean, I hope you're wearing long trousers and not shorts.
I think it'd be quite a vision with shorts and knee high
Because you're
socks.
describing it as if you're actually be able to see them.
I'll show you my socks when we meet up, Mark. Okay.
It's a date. It's a date.
Yeah. Okay, now, Mark, I heard Stuart say something about waiting in the studios to watch a special show. Are we allowed to talk about the special show?
Well, it has started already, and other people have been actually
Okay.
posting about it. So if you don't want to hear about it, you can just go for the next 4
Okay.
minutes.
So if you don't want spoilers, mute your podcast for a few minutes. We're going to ask Stuart about the super special show he saw over in the studios.
We are actually talking about Doctor Strange, Mystery of the Mystics. This amazing title, and it has
Tell us everything, Stuart.
And I know that one of the people behind this show was actually also involved in the Disney Electrical Sky Parade. Mabrouk Reguilly.
That's correct. Yeah, he was there on the night actually with watching the show, so I'm sure he was very proud of the show. Whenever I see any of these, you can tell from kind of Instagram who's involved with the top shows in Disneyland Paris. And whenever you see Mabrouk's name, you're filled with a sense of safety because you're going to get a good show here. Yes, so it's Doctor Strange: Mystery of the Mystics. None of us knew. I mean, I think this was announced at maybe D23, was it, or definitely during the summer, and none of us knew what was in store here. There was unfounded rumors of drones being involved because there was drones at the Avengers Campus opening a few years back. That was never on my radar, by the way, just some other people. And then we didn't know, it turned out to be a rooftop kind of situation, or we didn't know if the Quinjet was going to take off. No one knew. Our imaginations just flew off as high as the Quinjet. So it happens on top of the mission equipment rooftop, where if you've been to Avengers Campus, you will normally see Black Widow and Taskmaster and Black Panther fighting with Spider-Man. So this is a similar situation, but the mood is entirely different. And like, hats off completely. If I was wearing a hat right now, I would take it off because this is right up to date. Yeah, this is right up to date. Agatha all along, I'm a huge Marvel nerd, so I can talk about this for the rest of the show if you want me to. Agatha all along just wrapped like 3 weeks ago, perhaps, and they got in both Agatha all along the song, and they got in the Battle of the Witches Road. Yeah, straight away. So that's like, I remember when they launched Avengers Power Tonight, the drone show in studios, and they pretty quickly had a lot of Wakanda Forever in the show. And so these are the same group of people, the same people who hang out at Disneyland Paris are just on the money completely. So it's a projection show with some very soft pyro, and then like light stunt work and gestures from the characters. Again, I do have a few notes here. The music is fantastic, like really fantastic. Agatha appears and asks the crowd to sing The Witch's Road with her, which I was there for the first ever showing of this, so everyone's just content creators. Nobody wants to sing into their phone while recording. So maybe the second and third show, or if people aren't trying to get content spread around the world, they will let themselves go a bit more. But there was a low hum to the song when I was there, and it was kind of bone chilling because it was dark, it was cold, a lot of purple lighting and stuff like that. It was more accustomed to Halloween, really. So music, yeah, fantastic. Lighting, fantastic. They had, I don't know what technology is, but they had like Ultra HD. They're mad into the word ultra these days. Ultra HD lasers, which were coming off the Stark factory roof, which I understand, and they were completely lighting up, the canvas of that whole rooftop. Friday on the Flight Force building was interacting with the show as well.
Oh.
Yeah, and when Wanda arrived, what's the correct term? When she arrived, there was a huge roar because Wanda is just kind of a folk hero these days, with her kind of anti-hero vibes.
Goddess.
So she's, luckily for us English speakers, Wanda speaks English for the show, and Agatha and Doctor Strange are very heavy with French. So when Agatha arrives, she does speak a lot of French and then maybe a few words of English, but the first kind of minute of the show is like, what's actually happening here? But then Wanda arrives and explains to you what's actually happening in the show. So, yeah, I thought it was fantastic. A bit of soft pyro. Oh no, the world's going to end if Agatha gets her way. Doctor Strange and Wanda team up, and they have to work together, ensemble. That's what they said at the end of the show, which was very similar to the Pixar show at the end.
No,
But yeah,
that's
it
not the
was,
French word for assemble.
yes, apparently,
Avengers ensemble.
yeah. So I would give it, like, if you're looking for stars, like, it's up there with maybe 4.5 out of 5. You know, I'm a huge Marvel nerd. I got goosebumps watching this show for the music and the lighting and the kind of atmosphere it created. Um, that was obviously a packed viewing area for the show. I'm not sure it's going to be that way in a few weeks, in a few months, when the initial. Oh, I've lost my lighting. Sorry for that.
We have lost lighting as he spoke about lighting.
There we go. Yes.
Excellent. You need some
Good to see it
projectors
again.
in your car. And now we've lost your microphone. Oh, you're
So
back
yeah,
again.
I'm really looking forward to seeing it again, and I would recommend anyone to go see it. Fantastic show.
Excellent recap. Excellent. Sounds very good. Because I think seeing little reels and stuff like that on social media doesn't do it justice. That's my feeling, at least. Because I know that there has something to do with surround sound as well. Because you were talking about the drones during not the drones, the droning sound, the bass during the Witch's Road, for example. That's something you feel, and I've talked to Beth about this as well. I'm assuming that's what's going to happen during the new nighttime spectacular as well. That is going to be starting on the January 10th. So this might be a little bit of a precursor, because that's also using projections and the lighting effects, and because it just looks as if there's a couple of characters standing on a roof. But I think this is one of those that you actually have to be there.
Yeah, and you know, as a
to enjoy
as a photographer,
so I'm very happy
and
that
it's very difficult to capture these moments at night, in the dark. So no phone can do that justice, and very few people had proper cameras at the event. So I think it looks way better with your eyes. Yeah.
Excellent. And just to point out that on the premiere night, people were not quite sure what time it was starting, because there had been no official announcement about it. So once again, DLP report, thank you. They eventually came out and said, okay, it's going to be at 6 o'clock and it's be at 7:15. So 2 showings at that night, at least. I don't know if it's the same every night. But obviously, because it needs projections, it has to be a nighttime show. But in fact, they do come out.
That's correct. Yeah, we saw.
There's like a
Wanda delivers
precursor
a
to
hell of a
what's going to
speech from the
happen later.
Quinjet platform during the day. Quite a chilling speech. But yeah, she's going to be a great character to have, and I hope that they let her out into the campus, and I hope that people can meet her. And I think that's going to be a huge win if they can really exploit the popularity of Scarlet Witch.
Ooh, I'm very excited, but because I don't know if we're going to be allowed into the Walt Disney Studios park during the Inside Ears Christmas event, or if it's only going to be inside the Disneyland park. So we're going to have to find a way to go in the day before or something like that to see this show.
Yeah.
Because I definitely want to try, at least with my cameras, to capture some photos and maybe some video.
Yeah, you've got me really hyped for this show now, Stuart. Frankly, this show, which is part of just a normal ticket, it seems like it's got you more excited than the pass party, which cost you an extra €59.
That's very true. It's often said amongst creators, content creators, that amongst the Disney parks worldwide, Disneyland Paris includes way more in the ticket price that you pay. And I think people who only visit Disneyland Paris are a bit spoiled by that and a bit naive by that. Like, I saw our mutual friend Sam Forgod was at Walt Disney World recently, and she noted that maybe $100 or $200 extra for Christmas parties in Walt Disney World, and like, you can have a whole day, a whole weekend in Disneyland Paris full of Christmas activities, shows, special drone shows. Like, there's so much stuff that's just included with the tickets. So we do have to take off our DLP bashing hats sometimes and give them credit where credit's due, because they do include an awful lot in the standard price.
Absolutely perfectly said, and I agree with that. So I don't know if you agree with that, Beth, but we're going to see it for ourselves on the 14th of December.
Exactly. We can report back. I have to
Excellent.
say, though, that 25% off all of your shopping, though, during that pass holder Christmas party, that did sound pretty good. And it did look like people were taking advantage of it. So I can't get in on that action, but I will definitely go enjoy the new show. And I'm really happy that they didn't put adventure in the name. It's not the adventure of the mystics or something. I was a little worried. I don't know. Adventure seems to be popping up everywhere these days.
I'm waiting for them to call it Disney Ultra Adventure World, but we'll see how that goes. Stuart, thank you so much for sitting in your car and connecting with us. We are going to connect with you on the 14th of December. Be great to talk up with you, and we owe you at least one hot chocolate. So we'll be there waiting for you with a hot chocolate in hand.
No, just that I'm very
Anything
sad
else
that
you want to
Vanessa's
add?
not here. I enjoyed her return last week. Her particular humor is a great foil to the two of you guys. So
She will hopefully be in the rest of the show, but yes, unfortunately, she has
well, I can't wait to listen to the
obligations
episode.
at this time of night. So excellent, ladies and gentlemen, this has been DLP tips from Irish in Cars.
Bye, guys.
See you on the next one.